Old growth, again, makes a pretty strong claim. Most people believe that when you cut old growth forest, you've really lost something irretrievably. But an old growth forest is a particular kind of ecosystem, and with the right kind of care, it can be recreated. Old growth, again, is dedicated to doing that in a way that is essentially unknown. Almost nobody is practicing this kind of forestry. But when practiced, it's more economically profitable over time than any other approach.
Old growth forests are 200 years old or older. After they've been logged, they say that old growth can never be recreated. Well, old growth, again, is proving that to be wrong. We'll show you in the course of the video how it's done, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the details that are most pertinent.
The Redwood Forest was once the greatest forest on Earth. It covers nearly 2 million acres from Big Sur to Oregon. Since 1850, over 95% of that acreage has been logged, some of it up to 4 times. Because of excessive logging, many of these forests are now dominated by hardwoods, brush, and suppressed young trees. OGA gradually thins the brush, the hardwoods, the overcrowded young trees, and we limb the lower branches of many of the remaining trees to slowly restore the structure and species composition of the old growth forest.
In this forest, the tan oak used to be 15% of the volume of the forest. It's a good guess, 10 to 20%. This forest 2 years ago was 60% tan oak. We took out close to 50% of the volume to get it closer to what it was, but it's actually going to take 2 more rounds to get the tan oak down to 20%, because you can't do it too quickly. If you cut too fast, you open up the forest too much, and then the trees that you plant just fry in the August and September sun, and you defeated your purpose. So you can only open up the canopy a little bit at a time.
30 years after heavy logging, the stand has way too many trees competing for sunlight and water. We take out the lower quality trees and leave a good representative sample of all species, while also retaining a significant canopy cover. Then we come back in the winter and plant to increase the stocking of the redwoods and other conifers that were heavily logged in the 1960s. The visual changes are dramatic, and the wildlife habitat is improved for many animals. For example, the songbird populations have increased significantly.
OGA limits timber harvesting to 10% of the living conifer volume each decade. We place conservation easements on the deeds of each property to maintain this protection in perpetuity. By cutting only 10% per decade, the productivity of the forest multiplies, yielding a growing income while slowly maturing to old growth again. This is restoration forestry in a nutshell. It is also a solution for today's hellish forest fires, because the best protection against stand-destroying forest fires is an open understory with many mature trees up above. A log forest can heal itself if left alone, but it would take centuries to correct the structural problems created by man. Restoration can correct most problems in a couple decades, but it is rarely practiced because it is labor-intensive and expensive in the short term. OGA recovers most costs by selling firewood and making a limited amount of quality patio furniture and other value-added products. OGA also gratefully accepts grants and contributions and works with forest owners to finance restoration by combining tax savings from conservation easements with public and private grants. Few companies or individuals manage their forests this way because it is difficult financially to pay for the restoration. It is easier to develop the property, convert it to vineyards, or sell and go elsewhere. OGA is staying in the redwoods and doing the hard work. We don't want to see the great redwood forest slowly carved up into vineyards and subdivisions. We invite like-minded people to get involved. A walk through OGA managed forest land will convince you of the tragedy we are slowly reversing acre by acre. As the decades pass, a restored forest takes care of those that stop talking about doing something and instead put their bodies and wallets into hands-on restoration.
What we have done here is we've taken an ecological approach to forestry. Instead of taking the forester industrial model, at every turn we figure out what ways we can do it holistically, in harmony with the earth, and still not fall subject to the idealism of sheer ecology, who think that a chainsaw is the tool of the devil. That you can heal the earth by massive amounts of work and restore a forest back to its ancient form, considerations of habitat, erosion, species composition, in a single lifetime instead of 500 to 1,000 years.
People get really excited when they see our outdoor furniture. We take the time to handcraft a quality of picnic tables and other outdoor furniture that people don't ordinarily see, out of the redwood and pine. And in that way, we're able to derive as much value as possible from the land we're taking care of.
This horse, his name is Ike. This horse is Sparky. They're both Percherons, which is a breed originally from France, but these guys came from Missouri. And you can tell by their accent. These horses, when they work in the woods, they're not chewing the ground up as much as a skidder tractor would. And it's a little slower, but they've just got better traction. They know when they're slipping and they bite down harder with their feet, dig in, and if they can't move it, then we employ snatch blocks and long cables to give us some mechanical advantage. But in most cases, we've been able to move everything the first time we hook up to them. I use a logging arch a lot of times where I can get it in. It's got a wheelbase of 56 inches. That helps to get the butt of the log up off the ground, which makes the skidding easier on the bigger logs for these guys. But in some of the tighter places, I don't use that, and I just hook them directly to the end of the log, and they'll drag that along the ground.
It was just because I was an old friend of Raul that I got drawn into this. We saw a different vision. We pitched in with our own money. We got together. We bought a parcel here. We bought a parcel there. It just, in an organic way, it grew. And my first visits here were to have fun, to just go into the woods and enjoy the woods, take care of the woods, and find fulfillment through doing that, and then to go jump in the swimming hole. And out of that, we began to see, my goodness, we could make a difference. The way the forests all over California are being treated is a tragedy. This is a better way. It's actually a better economic model. It's a better environmental model. It's more fun. It's more fulfilling. It just bloomed in our own relationship to one another. And that is, for me, what I understand in my bones and body about this vision.
OGA made a commitment to be gentle to the earth. And that commitment has become true with the effort of people and a lot of dreams. If everybody makes an effort and a commitment like OGA, this would be a better place to live, and dreams can come true.
Hey. Oh, old people
OGA.
again. Old people again.
We weren't that old when we started this project.
We thought old girl sounded romantic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe we should refigure.